We will now consider item H3. This is the second reading and action on the Clay Elementary School renaming. Trustees Whitehurst, Payne, and Brera have led this work since the first reading of the item. So if you could please present the item for us.
Thank you, President Hazan. This has been a very long and controversial issue. I think the only thing that everyone agreed to was the fact that back to Lee, Clay, that too, needed to go. And so I'm glad that we had some agreement there. From that point, it has been, we own up to it as trustees, that the process has been messy. And I'll let my colleagues speak to that later. But I want to say that when we left the last time, we agreed that we would work together. He and I would work together to figure out what needed to happen. And we went out and visited the school, met with folks there who were staff members, but also parents in the community members, etc. The issue was whether or not we would name the school Bell Hooks or Rolling Hills, or there was a list that was submitted, which included Dr. Bertha Pendleton on the list. And I had to go back and ask for some wisdom from Solomon or some wisdom from somebody. And we came to the conclusion after we discussed it that we would go with a local person. Dr. Pendleton is someone who was the superintendent, a leader here in this district, a leader in the state of California, the first African-American female superintendent, that we wanted to bring unity back to the community. So by not siding with either side, you can blame me, and then Richard secondly. We'll take the flak on this one. We decided that Dr. Bertha Pendleton represents the things that we want to see in our children and in our schools. She started out in Alabama, and if you know the era when she came through back in the 30s, it was segregated. It was bad. I was in Virginia, but I wasn't at the same time as she was, but she was more my mother's era. But they went through some hard times in the South. She managed to get out of that. She went to school in Knoxville, Tennessee, which was also a difficult place. I visited that campus once, and it was difficult. And then she came to San Diego, but there's one important thing that I want to note, I want all of you to note, is that she was a scientist. She majored in biology. And so for those folks who are interested in STEAM and acknowledging leaders who were STEAM majors and who worked in that field, she, again, was a leader. And finally, she came to San Diego and became a teacher, math teacher, science teacher. And there are folks who still come to me now and say, she was my teacher. They're older people, but still. That's what they tell me. And this was all before this discussion came about. She moved on, became a counselor, I believe, in the district, at every step. And then finally, she was promoted to the superintendent of San Diego Unified, which is the second largest district in the state of California. So if you're talking about a leader, in order to bring community together, she's a leader. Her name, who she represents, all of us. She represented San Diego effectively as superintendent. So when Richard and I discussed it, we decided this was the best name for everybody to come together. And he said at the meeting, whatever we decide to name, we need to move forward. 2 years, we need to move forward. And we can work on the process and all the things that I'll let Richard talk about. But she is the name that we're bringing forward today. guys can do what you want with it, but I'm tossing it out there. This is my choice, and whatever, okay? Richard?
Yeah, thank you, Trustee Whitehurst-Payne. I just think it speaks to, I think all of us were very wise a couple of weeks ago when we said we were going to look to Dr. Whitehurst-Payne to lead this process. I do think that there are issues, and, you know, we've acknowledged them with the district's process. I think primarily, the district had a board-appointed names committee that was an open meeting Brown Act committee, and I think we need to ignite that committee and bring names forward to put on that committee, because this is likely not going to be the last time, that we take up an issue of a school name. And we'll do that going forward, and I know the superintendent will bring that forward. I think what's important tonight is, first of all, we need to thank the Clay community for getting organized and in a very unified and clear way saying, people might have not paid attention to that name, for years and years, but that name is not a name that we're proud to have our kids attend. And you came forward with a clear petition and you said, we need to change the name, and you were clear about why. As the superintendent said last time, look, even with the best of all processes, it doesn't mean that there's going to be consensus or agreement, within the school community. And we understand that, and that's been common, that's been typical when we consider school names. But I think we really do need to thank this community for bringing forward this discussion, because what you're seeing tonight is that as Dr. Whitehurst-Payne has focused on the name of Dr. Bertha Pendleton, you're seeing that people from beyond just the school community are excited and inspired and coming forward and say, that's something that we can be proud of. That's a person that we can be proud of as a community, and that we would feel is worthy of a name of a school that our kids attend every day. And the opportunity now is to teach our kids about the history that Dr. Whitehurst-Payne just started to talk about, what Dr. Pendleton overcame growing up in the South, an incredibly brilliant, young person. Weren't enough books in her segregated library, to satisfy her curiosity. And so she demanded, that there be more books and more access for young people in a community that was under hateful segregation. And she rose to make a decision that, although she was a scientist, she also wanted to be an educator, and she wanted to, bring her love of learning to new generations of young people, and became a teacher and a leader, and of course then a superintendent in this district, first African-American superintendent, first woman superintendent in the second largest school district in California. So it's a great story. I know that the educators at the school are eager to start telling the story and helping students engage in celebrating this name. I know parents are going to be eager in having discussions with their kids about the name Dr. Bertha Pendleton, the history of Dr. Pendleton, what it means, what it represents, but also what it means to say, we're not just going to simply stand by and allow another generation of kids to go to a school named after somebody that we don't believe in. And when we believe that change needs to be made, We're not going to wait for somebody else to do that for us. We're going to step up, and we're going to organize that change. And that's a great story as well, that I hope future generations of students at the Dr. Bertha Pendleton Elementary School learn. Your activism, your leadership made this happen, and now you're bringing the broader San Diego community into a celebration and a partnership with you. So thank you for your work.
Thank you, trustees Whitehurst Payne and Barrera. Appreciate your leadership and helping us get to this point today. Is there a motion on this item? Thank you. All right, we have a motion and a second. Are there, I'm not going to ask, are there? I know we have a lot of speakers on this item, and we are happy to have you here. Ms. Stoltz, would you like to call our speakers?
Yes, we have quite a few speakers. We'll start with our two virtual speakers. Kara Vetter,
Oh, and how much time does
and each
everybody have?
person will have 1 minute. Is Kara Vetter available on Zoom?
And I think while we wait for her, just to reiterate to everyone, we are really happy to have you here. We have a lot of speakers, and so please stick to your 1 minute.
Hello, can you hear me? Hello, my name is Kara Vetter, and I am a parent of 2 students at Clay. Thank you to everyone here for meeting to discuss and approve of a much-needed name change. While it has not been preferred by many of our community stakeholders, that being Bell Hooks Elementary, I am here to express my pleasure. The name has been selected at long last, so thank you to everyone who has worked with us to get us this far. I won't retread the issues of the past. However, I would impress upon the board and district staff to not only clearly define what future renaming processes should be, but to also collaborate with the previous communities who've gone through renaming on how to make a new process that is equitable and fair for everyone. A process based in restorative justice practices is what is needed and what I really hope for the future. So in the spirit of Bell Hooks, who said, when we only name the problem, when we state complaint without a constructive focus or resolution, we take hope away. In this way, critique can become merely an expression of profound cynicism, which then works to sustain dominator culture. I say, please continue to dream with us, hope with us, and work with us to ensure that cynicism is not allowed to take root, that critique can turn into positive action, and that a path to a brighter collective future can be paved in true partnership together. Thank you all, everyone, and I'm looking forward to having this new name announced publicly very soon.
The
Thank you.
next virtual speaker is Michael Young. Is Michael available on Zoom?
Yes.
Go ahead, you have 1 minute.
Hello, I'm a homeowner and resident of Rolando, and I support the board's approval of a change of name for our neighborhood elementary school. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, we have over 30 folks who have signed up to speak in person, so if you would all please remember the 1 minute rule, and also if you could hold your applause until the end after everyone has spoken. I'll call the first 6 names to come and line up and make your statement. Deborah Maxey, Jared Tucker, Eric Anderson, Brian Jenkins, Sadie Tucker, and Jean Jenkins.
Throw this paper out, throw this one out, 1 minute. Good evening. I'm Deborah Maxey, retired administrator, San Diego Unified School District. I begin by stating my unwavering support of the renaming of Clay Elementary to the Dr. Bertha Pendleton Elementary School. I crossed her path in 2 personal occasions, one where she personally shepherded me as a new counselor at Keeler Middle School, and then again when organization that I'm a part of, an organization for African American women in the field of education, we pinned her as an honorary member of the National Sorority of Phi Delta Kappa Incorporated. So we are sisters by career, not by colors or handshakes. She came from humble beginnings, as you have heard, all the way as a counselor, vice principal, principal, district coordinator, assistant superintendent, deputy superintendent, before becoming our first female and first African-American superintendent for San Diego Unified School District. Each year, I oversee a scholarship that has been in her name for the last years since she has retired. Can I do a statement from our Secretary of State? I spoke with the
Yes, yes,
Secretary of
please.
State, the Honorary Secretary of State, Dr. Shirley Weber, before coming into the auditorium because she could not be here tonight, and she says she overwhelmingly supports the renaming. And I know she has called many of you, or if not, she will, after the vote. Also, Dr. Pendleton's son wants to express to the board that the family would truly be honored by this recognition. Let's give her her flowers while she can still smell them. Thank you.
Members of the board, superintendent, great to be before you again. Thank you for thoughtfully engaging in this process. You could have very easily just rubber stamped the Names Committee's recommendation for Rolling Hills and without analyzing how it got there, but you didn't. You had a funny feeling, and so you dug a little deeper, and I commend you for that. Over these past few weeks, to see Bell Hooks and Dr. Pendleton emerge as the best candidates is incredible progress, and it shows the board's commitment to creating a restorative district for all children. I urge you to keep on this path with future renamings. Some say that buildings should not be named after people at all, but as we stand in the Eugene Brucker Auditorium, I think that that argument doesn't hold a lot of water. There are people that deserve honor, and they also only make this argument when a certain type of person is being considered. Please don't fall for this. Dr. Pendleton dedicated her life to advancing her own education against incredible odds and to improving the outcomes for all the students that she served. There is no argument against that. I enthusiastically support this motion, and I encourage you all to vote in favor. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Brian Jenkins, and I'm a parent of 2 Henry Clay alumni and 1 current student. Tonight, I speak in the spirit of Bell Hooks to express my excitement for our school to be renamed after Bertha Pendleton. I'm going to throw my speech away. I do want to address what I see as some revisionist history happening here. To start, I keep hearing these sentiments echoed that there is unanimous support around renaming Henry Clay Elementary. I'd like to call attention to the fact that his name is still on the side of this building, and it has been 2 years since we brought this concern to the district. So that is disheartening. I'd also like to note on the record that when the trustees visited our school last week, nobody from our Not Okay with Clay group was invited to attend that session, and so I'm not sure who spoke at that, but that is news to us today. But thank you for your time, and again, I want to celebrate Bertha Pendleton because she's a wonderful person. She deserves to be on this building, and thank you all.
Hi, my name is Sadie. I am 9 years old and a 3rd grader at Clay Elementary. I was disappointed when I learned that our school was named after a slave owner. I thought that Bell Hooks would be a great person for our school name because she was an activist who fought for love and equality, and I think our school represents that. Dr. Bertha Pendleton also fought for many things, including students. She is an amazing leader. She was the first Black woman to be a superintendent in the San Diego Unified School District. I would be equally proud to go to Dr. Bertha Pendleton Elementary School. I would like to thank my dad and the community for making this happen. Thank you.
Good evening, board. I'm Eric Anderson, campus neighbor. I was prepared to speak against this motion when I heard it wasn't going to be Bell Hooks. But after talking with my fellow organizers at Not Okay with Clay, I changed my position to support. The most important thing is to get Henry Clay's name off of the building as soon as possible. I started the petition to rename the Andrew Jackson Post Office across the street from Clay Park, which is next to Clay Elementary. Sarah Jacobs went all the way through both houses and the President of the United States, and they passed Public Bill 117-314 and changed it. But now, almost 500 days later, the Andrew Jackson signage still stands. Please pass item H3, and please pledge to remove every last trace of that despicable slave trafficker, Henry Clay. I also remember the discussion you had at the first reading of this motion. You pledged to create a better process for renaming schools in the future. I hope you will consider Bell Hooks again some other time.
Hi, I'm Jeannie Jenkins. I'm the grandmother of a current Clay student as well as 2 Clay graduates. I came tonight to ask you to select Bell Hooks as the school's new name. I learned today that Bertha Pendleton was now the choice in the name being proposed, and I also support this name to replace Henry Clay. Thank you.
The next group of speakers, Jackie Barajas, Sabrina Young, Denisha Jenkins, Mary Castleberry, Jennifer Coast, and Emily Tucker.
I'm a tiny bit emotional after hearing Sadie speak. I'm Sabrina Young, and I was Sadie's kindergarten teacher and TK teacher. And I want to say a few things really quickly. I'm sorry I went over the buzzer last time I spoke. At the last meeting, Dr. Whitehurst Payne, you opened the conversation with, "This has a funny feel to it." You hit the nail on the head. And then all the board members, including students who weighed in, hit the nail on the head again and again and again. Thank you for listening and speaking your mind. Thank you to Sean Elo Rivera and his staff for also listening and speaking and supporting a restorative choice for our elementary school. Thank you for not rushing to vote to approve Rolling Hills. A year ago, our Not Okay with Clay grassroots group submitted a list with several restorative names that we thought would celebrate our community. And Dr. Pendleton's name was put on that list and nominated by Gerard Tucker, our PTA president. To all of the board members, I'd like everyone to stand who is in support of Dr. Bertha Pendleton as the name for Clay Elementary. Thank you for voting to rename Henry Clay Bertha Pendleton Elementary School. Dr. Whitehurst Payne, this doesn't feel funny. It feels very right.
Thank you.
Denisha Jenkins, please approve the amazing Bertha Pendleton Elementary. Given how the district and principal navigated this process and how we have been treated throughout, many asked me why we did not rally today to protest. Dr. Pendleton was a name we proposed from day one. Bell Hooks would never protest not having her name on a building. The pedagogy of love, community, and anti-racism brought us together and will sustain us through what is just the beginning of building a school that our children deserve. Bell Hooks' name will live in the gardens we plant, how we care for each other, what we teach our children, and how we hold ourselves, this school, and this district accountable to ending the overtly racist, homophobic, and oppressive behavior that has been deemed acceptable. We will not tolerate one more child being harmed. We are seeing something, and we are saying something. We hope that we might now at least receive responses to our phone calls and emails from our school leadership, because we are not going away, and we will not stop until all of our children at our school feel the safety, love, and community that is possible if we decide to make it so. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Emily Tucker, and I'm a parent of a UTK and third grade student at Clay Elementary, as well as a community member in the Rolando neighborhood. I, like many of us here, had no idea who Henry Clay was before this information was brought forward. His history does not represent our school or the amazing kids that go there. My girls, our children, should be proud of where they go every day to learn. I love our school. I love the families that attend there and live in our community. I am 100% in support of this name change and to bring forward a meaningful restorative replacement for it. Our schools should be teaching our kids about love, inclusivity, and justice, and who it's named after should hold those values as well. I cannot begin to describe how in awe I am of this group that has put in endless volunteer hours over the past year and a half to get to this point. They kept pushing through every roadblock, no matter the frustration. Today is a win. Having either of these incredible names, Bell Hooks or Dr. Bertha Pendleton, on our school, I couldn't be more proud of my husband, my girls of their dad, and the other members that have fought so hard for something that is so obviously right. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Mary Castleberry. I am a retired administrator from San Diego Unified School District, having worked in the district for 32 years. I had the opportunity to serve with Dr. Pendleton as both a site administrator and also as a district administrator. I'd just like to say a couple things about Dr. Pendleton. She came to this district in 1957. She was recruited to come to San Diego Unified School District. When she came to San Diego Unified School District, the number of African American teachers you could count on one hand. She was a trailblazer in that sense that she came not knowing anything about San Diego. She came from Chattanooga, Tennessee. She was recruited by a recruiter, and she came and she was an ongoing icon in this district for 41 years. In all of her assignments, and you've heard about all the different assignments, her energy was always on equitable and opportunities for all students regarding of race, social status. Thank you so much. I have a whole 2 pages, but thank you so much.
If you'd like to turn in your remarks, please feel free to bring them up.
Thank you, board members. I just want to say that I'm a community member in Rolando, and I'm a longtime public educator, having worked for our community college district for 28 years now. I'm inspired by your leadership and your decision to go with Dr. Bertha Pendleton Elementary School name change. Thank you for your vision. This restorative change means so much.
The next group of speakers are Troy Owens, Helen Griffith, Jennifer Storm, Cherry Flowers, Sophia Morant, and Laura Chechel.
Hello, my name is Sophia Morant. I'm here today to raise my voice and to support changing the name of Clay Elementary. Not only do I live in this neighborhood, but Sadie Tucker is my Girl Scout sister. One of our Girl Scout principles is to stand up in unity against injustices to make the world a better place. Whether the name is Miss Bell Hooks or Dr. Bertha Pendleton, this change is important as it symbolizes the progressive thinking of our community. Thank you for listening.
My name's Cherie Flowers, and I'm the descendant of slaves. And so are my daughters, who are students at Clay Elementary School. I just wanted to say that I'm asking you to right a wrong that has been inflicted on our Rolando community. To not only take down a slaveholder's name, but to carry out restorative justice by renaming our school Bell Hooks, an unapologetically Black civil rights advocate. Now, that might feel uncomfortable to you because you may be familiar most with MLK, but it's music to our ears. What better way to right a wrong and to do good by slaves than to rename that same building after the descendants of one? Now, you may be thinking Bertha Pendleton is a perfectly good name and has strong ties to San Diego, but we previously told you, how you could right this wrong. So this just feels like another act of censorship to me. We're asking you to employ radical acceptance. And that's it. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Dr. Helen Griffith, a proud product of San Diego Unified. I'd like to ask you tonight, what's in a name? It's said that a name represents one's character, attributes, and nature. Therefore, as we name a school, we want our scholars to embrace the character, attributes, and nature of the name. Upon reviewing that beautiful website at Clay, I saw a mural that said, "I am Clay." I'm assuming it's the intention for our scholars to take pride in our schools. Therefore, it's the hope that we can change the name today to Pendleton Elementary, as she represents all we want our scholars to embrace. As a valedictorian of our high school, a scholar, a professional who worked her way up, a leader in our community service organization, Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated, and the first black female superintendent. Tonight, Bertha Pendleton is the exact representation of what we want our scholars to ascribe to. We want to see the new mural that says, "I am Pendleton." Therefore, please vote tonight to change the name from Clay to Pendleton Elementary, and we thank you, we support you.
Good evening. My name is Jennifer Storm, and I am the aunt to a number of Clay, one current student and 2 graduates. I am relatively new to the San Diego area within the last 3 years. I spent the last 10 years living and working in Washington, D.C., and one of the reasons I was excited to move to San Diego and move out of Washington, D.C. Was really to be back closer to the issues and the communities and see a community working together to make change. And so while I might be new to this community and I have the chance to support my nieces and nephews and their families in making this change, I am excited to see the board taking such an active interest in these conversations and continuing to improve the process and also to make this change of the name itself. This is where the work of our country happens, of our community happens, and it's so important to be engaged. So I just want to celebrate the work that everyone has done here to make this name change, the chance that we get to name this school after an incredible individual, and thank you all for considering this proposal.
Hi everyone, good evening. My name is Laura Chechel, and I am mom to Bryce, who is a student at Clay Elementary. She's in UTK. I'm also an advanced practice nurse. I'm also a member of the supposed only 6 families that support this initiative, an initiative that has been diminished from the start as only 2 dads, and at the last board meeting as 10 speakers. I am here today to support the changing of Clay Elementary to the restorative name of Bertha Pendleton Elementary School, a name put forth by the community that started this initiative. While we are happy to see this day where a vote will be taken and we can move forward, this process was a stark reminder that racism remains pervasive in our schools. I can't help but question why this process went the way it did and why some educators came out after 2 years of silence in the 11th hour to exert their influence over a community striving to create an inclusive and welcoming environment for students and families. Please know there is no amount of hate and oppression, political navigating and influence that will deter us from doing the right thing. To this board, thank you for joining us. We hope you will continue to do so as we work to bring the message of bell hooks throughout San Diego Unified, a message of love, community, and justice.
My name is Troy Owens. Thank you for the opportunity to come to speak with you. We've heard a lot about Dr. Pendleton. My suggestion and support would be for that wonderful legend of education and that trophy of pride for the city and the county of San Diego. I've had the privilege to work with her under her policies as a San Diego police officer, juvenile services, in creating a safe environment, a learning environment in the schools that I was assigned to. But to simplify tonight, I would just encourage everyone to remember SSS as a decision maker. Sadie said so.
The next group of speakers, Karen Traux, Traux, John Burgestrid, Chris Bono, Louise Chechel, Magenta Johnson, and Kara Camden.
Hi. My name is Louise Chechel, and I am the grandmother of a student at Clay Elementary. I am here to support the changing of Henry Clay Elementary to Bertha Pendleton Elementary School. I will leave you with a quote from Bell Hooks. To build community requires vigilant awareness of the work we must continually do to undermine all the socialization that has led us to behave in ways that perpetuate domination. Thank you.
Hi
Hi, my name is Chris Bano. I'm also here as a community member. I'm a father. It was my little daughter up here that was playing with the microphone. She wanted to make sure she was heard, and her parents are very proud of her for that. It's important that you're actually listening right now. I know this has been a long process. I know a lot of us have been frustrated throughout it, but it's nice to see that we're finally coming to a conclusion. I'm very happy with the Dr. Bertha Pendleton name. I hope we can all move forward with that, and thank you for considering. Thank you.
The next group of speakers, Gabriella Serrano, David Johnson, Rebecca McCrae, Kylie Bellinger, and Katie Ness Santana.
I know I wasn't first, but we'll keep it going. We'll keep it going. Good evening, Mr. Superintendent and school board members. I am Rebecca McCrae, and I'm here again tonight on behalf of myself and nearly all of the amazing staff at Clay Elementary School. That staff including nursing, cafeteria, nutrition services, all of everyone that's available on campus to help our kids every day. I stand here representing that staff filled with gratitude and appreciation and so much hope. The process of renaming our school has been a long one with many learning curves along the way. When I spoke here 2 weeks ago, we were frustrated with the timeline and concerned about our school community moving forward. We really needed this board to make a decision so that together we could move forward as a school community. You heard us. Not only did you hear us about making a decision, you really did the work to make an informed decision. We are so excited about the choice you made to name our school after Dr. Bertha Pendleton. Thank you to our district for listening to our community. Thank you to our superintendent for trusting this community and this whole process. And thank you to our board members for doing the work needed to help our community grow together.
The next group of speakers, Norma Todd, Scarlett Jenkins, Jesse Mills, Terry Early, Amanda Giovanetti.
Sorry, this required some serious revisions. I am the parent of 3 boys who have been or are currently attending Clay. I'm also a professor of English and a long-term student of Bell Hooks. I want to thank all of the board members for your work. I thank you for acknowledging the problems that occurred during this process, and I hope future processes will benefit from those missteps. I came here to voice my support in favor of renaming our school Bell Hooks, but I appreciate that a resolution has been made, and I will be proud that my boys will be attending a school named after Dr. Pendleton, a truly strong, remarkable, honorable leader and educator. I'm in awe of my friends and neighbors who have fought tirelessly to make this a reality. You all have set the best possible example for our students, and I'm honored to stand by your side. I believe Bell Hooks would wholeheartedly see this as progress. Hooks believed in education as helping students to, quote, learn to open their minds, to engage in rigorous study, and to think critically, end quote. I believe this is the work that our teachers and staff do every day at our elementary school, and I hope we can honor them, Dr. Pendleton and Bell Hooks.
Hi, good evening. Hi, my name is Norma Todd, and I'm here as a community member in full support of changing the name from Henry Clay to Bell Hooks or Bertha Pendleton. As you deliberate your decision, reflect on the profound impact that you're making in the community to see one of these names in our educational systems. It's not merely about the name or choosing a name, it's about reflecting the values and the histories of our community and the aspirations of our society. With that said, whether you choose to honor the legacy of Bell Hooks, which encompasses love and community, or the leadership of Bertha Pendleton, you are sending a powerful message to the community of empowerment, respect, and inclusivity. Thank you, and thank you to the board, and thank you to the committee members that made this happen.
Good evening, Board of Education. My name is Terry Wilson Early, and I come to you as a 36-year retiree of San Diego City Schools. I currently sub at Clay Elementary, and I'm a proud member of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated Epsilon Xi Omega chapter of San Diego, California. But what I want to talk to you about is what it was like to work under Bertha. I was a teacher a race human relations facilitator, a coordinator of a school community safety network grant, vice principal, principal, and then an ed specialist. When we worked with her, it was a united familial environment that educated children in a caring, nurturing fashion. I worked in all 5 areas of the school district, and we know how diverse we are. If you come to Clay, you see diversity like you would never believe. I recently talked with a young man that was a native indigenous student who had just transferred there, and I told him how he should be so excited to be a part of an environment that nurtures children. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Amanda. I'm the mother of a student in San Diego Unified School District. I am overwhelmingly here in support for the change of Henry Clay Elementary. I am here in the support of Dr. Bertha Pendleton as well as Bell Hooks, both women motivational and empowered educators spreading the message of love and community, and better reflect the values we as parents want our children to hold and strive for. I urge you to continue on this path for restorative change. Thank you.
And our last 3 speakers, Joe Natch, Ellen Nash, Cheryl McClellan.
Hello, my name is Joe, and I'm a parent of a San Diego Unified student. I came here to support changing the name away from Henry Clay Elementary. Clearly, after these other speakers, I don't need to remind you of the problematic perspectives that Clay represents. It would be better for the name of the school to reflect a positive, empowering figure of recent history, such as Bertha Pendleton, who herself is a leading and empowering figure from this district's history, or Bell Hooks, an enlightened educator whose legacy speaks to the ideals and goals that we as a society are aiming to embody. Changing the name of the school should not be done just to brush over a blighted time in our nation's history, but to take an affirming step forward towards achieving the mission of this school district as listed in its statement. Thank you.
Last but not least, my name is Cheryl McClellan, and I am a former member of the San Diego Unified School District. I gave 38.5 years to this very great district. I'm also a member of the National Sorority of Phi Delta Kappa. National Sorority of Phi Delta Kappa is an education sorority in which Dr. Pendleton is an honorary member. I also serve as the Far West Regional Director, and I am pleased that you are doing this. Our regional theme states, striving for excellence, mission possible. This mission is possible. Thank you.
That concludes public comment.
Thank you, and thank you to everybody who joined us to share your feedback, your support, and for all of your work to get us to this point. Do any trustees have questions or wish to discuss this? Trustee Bazzo.
I'd also like to thank all of you for being here tonight and for all the work that this group has put in over the last 2 years. I'm still not sure why it took 2 years, just like you, to get to this point. And I know we went through a pretty steep learning curve here, and hopefully this will help with, because I know this is not going to be the last name change that we're going to go through. So hopefully we can take what we learned from here and smooth out the process for next time. And I also feel like I learned a lot about this community. I'm kind of jealous. I think I want to be part of this school community. You guys are amazing. So, I think we're very fortunate to have such amazing parents, such an amazing community as part of San Diego Unified. And I also want to again thank Trustees Barrera and Dr. Whitehurst-Payne for coming to such a great solution. And I just want to lift up Dr. Whitehurst-Payne for a minute, because she's not one to brag about herself, but this woman has more energy than anyone I know, and she is out at every single one of her schools all the time. If you have a problem, she is there. She's amazing, and she is such a strong voice for her community, and so I want to thank her personally for leading us through this process. And you couldn't have a better person in your corner in your District E than Dr. Whitehurst Payne.
Vice President Pedersen.
I apologize, Sharon. I may choke up here a little bit. No tears, yes, she's got a thing with that. So this is a very moving evening, obviously, and for some reason, the person I keep thinking of is Frederick Douglass tonight. And I was a strange little white kid in middle school who went through a Frederick Douglass phase. I don't quite know. I'm thankful I did, but I don't know quite how that happened. And so before I knew anything about the Compromise of 1850 and Henry Clay, I knew that Frederick Douglass thought Henry Clay was garbage. And one thing that I go back to this Frederick Douglass is very happy tonight wherever he is. He had to wait 130 years for it, but the name is gone and or will be gone soon. And I go back to something that he said: "Power concedes nothing." And so I want to center tonight the organizers who recognized that power conceded nothing and organized for the last 2-3 years, recognized there is no possible way, in particular, a black child should have to go to a school called Henry Clay. It's completely preposterous. And wear a sweater that says, or whatever, you know what I mean? It's just like completely unacceptable. And so I really want to congratulate, in particular, everybody who spent so many thousands of hours organizing around this, who saw something that was completely unacceptable to them and did not concede to it and did whatever it took to finally come to this evening. And I'll be honest, after the last meeting, I was familiar with Bell Hook's poetry, but I hadn't really engaged with her writing. So I got All About Love on Audible, and I was listening to it. So I have to say I was definitely leaning in that direction and excited about Bell Hooks. However, and I didn't see this board item until the board item dropped, and I have to congratulate my colleagues, Sharon and Richard, for selecting an option that I think both affirms the vision and values of the organizing committee that is bringing an end to the Henry Clay name, while also finding a way forward to foster unity. I think you brought up Solomon. Is that a Gordian knot type thing? I think it's a cut the baby. Is that cutting the, I don't know. Yes, that's what it is. Okay. And so I want to congratulate them, but more than anything, I want to congratulate all the organizers who brought this and ensured that, in particular, no black child will ever have to be in a school called Henry Clay, and no child of any race, color, creed will ever have to be in a school named after Henry Clay. So congratulations to you.
And I echo the sentiments of all of my fellow trustees and really want to thank again Trustees Whitehurst Payne and Barrera for going back to the community, making sure that you were heard. Thank you for holding us accountable. I am sorry it took us this long. It should not. It will not moving forward. And I am just grateful that we have gotten to this place and that we will have a restorative name on this school that we know our children deserve. So we have, I was gonna say we've said enough. We have not said enough. Superintendent Jackson.
Thank you. And I said this before, I want to thank the community and thank the broader community. I too want to apologize. I am the superintendent. I am the leader of this district. And I want to thank our principal. I know that some people may say, you know what, there's some tension and all of these things. I want to say this. One of the teachers said it best: we need to move forward and we need to come together. And so I'm going to say you can lean on me because it's my responsibility to create the conditions, the processes, and we will be better. I commit to that. We will be better. But I want to make sure that we hold true to that notion of restoration because we need to do that as a community. It was said by a teacher. I believe in this community. that's going to be very important. So I would be remiss if I did not share that. The committee was acting on behalf of myself as a leader, on behalf of the board, and this is not a place for us to point fingers and blame. This is a time to come together because that's what Dr. Bertha Pendleton would want us to do in the spirit of love and the spirit of our students. And so we need to find love. We need to find that place of space with an open heart to move forward as a community, as a Dr. Bertha Pendleton community. So I want to say that to the board, we are going to be better, and to the entire community. You not only represent the community where your students go, but you are laying the path for the rest of our district. So I ask that. Please, please, please sit down together, restore. We can have different opinions, but we should all focus on our children and those who support our children. That means our families and our adults, our educators, our nurses, our counselors, our custodial crew, and our leaders. So I ask that from me to all of you. Thank you.
Thank you, Superintendent Jackson. All right, well, we have a motion and a second to rename Clay Elementary Dr. Bertha Pendleton Elementary School. Let's, student trustees, if you could please vote. Thank you, and all other trustees. The motion passes. And officially, for the record, the motion passes unanimously. Coming soon to the Rolando community, Bertha Pendleton Elementary.